And so I guess that is what we would call the positivity trap. Because in a sense, now that I'm saying it, like it just seemed a bit like a trap. Like your your positive thinking to attract good is almost indenting the belief that you need to do that. Whereas on the reverse, I'm trying to say that that's your state already. Wholeness and balanced vibrations, and we're back. Episode 2. Shit, I hope that didn't come off harsh on the mic. But yeah, episode 2 of the Easeful Podcast. And today what we're going to talk about is the positivity trap. Who thought positivity could be a trap? But no, I think there's enough of us who are on that vibe of coming out of scarcity to positive thinking. And when I say positive thinking, I include all dimensions of like self-empowerment, affirmations, visualizations, etc. And this is great because I still remember the time where I thought, before neuroplasticity came, to where you thought the way you are is the way you're going to be for the rest of your life. I literally thought, okay, if I'm not confident, then I'm not confident for my rest of my life. But then, boom, the next stage is positivity, positive thinking, stuff like that, affirmations, visualizations. But then eventually, that becomes sort of a barrier as well. That becomes a trap. I mean, not let's say a trap, but more so like you hit a limiting factor. Just as, for example, you learn in science when you're learning about plants that they need sunlight, water, and like, for example, you keep increasing the amount of water, and then eventually it levels off, and then you need to add more sunlight for the plant to increase its growth. That's kind of what I'm talking about, limiting factor. Because now if you just imagine for a second, two lines, one at the bottom, one at the top. The one at the bottom represents scarcity, and the one at the top represents abundance. And talking about this pre-positive thinking paradigm, you're usually, for example, me, I was at the space of that scarcity, looking up like, wow, it would be nice to have that abundance, whatever form of abundance that looks like confidence, money, wealth, fame, education. You're looking up at this like, wow, it would be nice to have this. And in the scarcity mentality, and I remember this, like I used to have like I'm sitting here today thinking, wow, I can't believe I used to think like this, but just complete negative thinking. So if you're there, like I've been there, I'm with you, this can be changed. But I used to be there, just extreme negative thinking, didn't have much self-worth, self-value of myself, wasn't confident at all. And I remember the turning point to that stage where you're at the bottom and then you strive to the top, to abundance. And this is what I call like the positivity thing, the positivity era. And I remember it's when I first came across Tony Robbins that this happened. And he was I think he must have just been talking about negative thinking, and I remember just catching myself, because he was quite inspiring for me. Like, I saw him and I was like, I would love to do like speaking like him and help other people, just be at a stage where I can support others to become the best version of themselves. And I remember seeing him, being inspired by him, and then straight up a thought just shut me down, like, stop being silly, how are you going to be like that? Like, you can't, that's not you, you're not going to be able to achieve that. But then for some reason at that moment I kind of realized, like, for the first time, like, whoa, there's actually like a little bug in my mind that is constantly shutting me down. And then from there, that's when kind of the positive era came. I started working on myself, the self-improvement, you could call it. That's it, I think that's a better way. The self-improvement era where you're like, okay, let me work on myself. So boom, you do all these things, which are great, which you need for your development, like, you know, working on your health, affirmations, visualizations, just trying to make yourself more towards the person you want to be. But then what happens afterwards, you hit a limiting factor, because it's quite a lot of effort. Like, for example, waking up every morning doing affirmations, or just constantly, every time you have a negative thought, think no, shutting it down and thinking of a positive thought. That works, but then at a certain time you end up hitting a threshold, and this is the threshold I hit before like most of my healing and integration work. And then the threshold, to pierce through it, you realize that, oh, hold on, I thought I was at this bottom rung of the ladder in scarcity, but in fact I'm actually at the top in abundance, in the state of perfection. But I've got baggage that is weighing me down, that's making me think, that's making it look like I'm in that scarcity, the bottom of the ladder. So then that's where integration work comes, to where you're like, okay, my best use of my time is to actually remove the baggage instead of trying to force myself, trying to take the brute force method of trying to be at that place of abundance. Is easier to accept myself at that place of perfection and look for the baggage that is suggesting that I'm not there, and working on that. And that in itself, like, I remember I had that kind of doubt that, you know, I just focusing on the negative thing, because obviously with the positive thinking thing, you're like, okay, I think positive, so I attract, I magnetize positivity. But then, like I mentioned in the previous episode, it's your subconscious that's doing most of the projection of your reality. Like, it's the subconscious that is doing the main creation of your reality. You know, like 90% they usually say is the number of that your subconscious is running. That's why they usually say like reprogram your subconscious. So whether you try to think positive or not, since the subconscious is 90% of that, those weeds you have in your subconscious is what's going to end up playing out. So whether you think positive or not, as long as that weed is still there, it's going to have some sort of effect. So in fact, like, looking at the dark areas, the shadows, or the parts that you want to reintegrate of you isn't actually attracting negativity. It's like you've got a clean windscreen, that's you, and you've got dirt on your windscreen. Now you can try, you know, peek through the little gap where there's no dirt and pretend like you don't have dirt, or you can sit back and just wipe the windscreen. Like, to wipe the windscreen, you need to know that there's dirt there. So to some extent you need to be aware, you need to focus on that dirt. Then also you gotta, also what I mentioned in the previous episode is that emotions, feelings, they want to evolve too. Okay, I may have not mentioned this, but there's a book called Power versus Force, and there's like a ranking of emotions, and at the bottom you have something like apathy, and as you work your way up the ladder, at the top you have like love or unity. And these emotions, they want to, in a sense, evolve to their highest possible form as well. And just like, you know, you'd feed your body good food to help it grow to its best possible shape, these emotions need awareness and love and patience, and that's like their food to help them evolve up the ladder to integrate into oneness. So in fact, when we're talking about the law of attraction, what's that saying? What's that really saying is that, or like positive thinking, it's kind of suggesting that you need to positive think. So it's almost suggesting that you're not in the state of perfection already. Whereas if you take a step back and you introduce the paradigm of integration work, then that's like, hold on, you are that state of perfection. There's just things that are there that you need to let go of to elevate back into, or just to return back to your natural state of perfection. And so I guess that is what we would call the positivity trap. Because in a sense, now that I'm saying it, like, it just seems a bit like a trap. Like your positive thinking to attract good is almost indenting the belief that you need to do that. Whereas on the reverse, I'm trying to say that, you know, that's your state already. You just need to realize that. And I mentioned integration work in the previous episode, but healing work can take many different kinds of form. Majority of my healing has been done through meditation. And obviously I can't say this for every listener here, because I don't know when you would listen to this podcast, but at the moment I'm doing some free universal meditation, or guidance with the universal meditation, which is the particular path of meditation that I've been certified in by my mentor and guide and brother Shalom Melchizedek. So if you're not meditating already, or if you want to start meditating or try a different type of meditation, just feel free to hit me up at DM me on Instagram, or if you go to my website and click online sessions. At the moment, all I'm doing is those free 15-minute meditations. But yeah, most of my healing's been done through meditation. And with meditation, it's interesting, because I think I might talk about this another time, but I find meditation like, you know, those spinny toys that you get from Christmas crackers, where that spinny toy is you, and you come into meditation, and you know, life happens, so you're kind of like wavy, a bit off balance, so you're just rotating very slow, in a chaotic way almost. And then as you meditate, what really is happening is that you're slowly returning back to, you can say, 0 point, to balance. And as you return to that balance, what happens is, just like, you know, if you would spin like a dirty bike tire really fast and all the dirt will fly off, that essentially will happen in meditation when you spend time going deeper into it, which is that what is not in alignment with you will show itself up on its way out. And obviously that doesn't always look pretty. Like, sometimes when I say show itself up on the way out, there's emotions that have been hidden that will come, and that's not to be scared of. Your being will only give you what you're ready to receive. Yeah, but that stuff will come up to transmute and to reintegrate. Yeah, and when I speak in meditation in this tense, I'm not speaking about visualization meditation, because that's almost like a separate thing to like this kind of meditation, where you're kind of returning to zero and you're building energy as well. Oh, and I want to say this, but I guess I could do another episode of meditation. But meditation, it really is the only way to build energy, whether that's through qigong, tai chi, or the sitting down universal meditation I do. Because when we think of energy, we kind of think of exercise, that, you know, how you're explosive in exercise. It's like, ooh, this is it, this is energy. But no, exercise is explosion, which is the loss of energy, the loss of power. Whereas when you look at meditation, that's implosion, that's building of current, building of energy, harnessing of energy. And that only really comes when you get to those depths of meditation. Because a lot of the time it's like there's like a pipeline right above your head, and that's just like source energy coming down. And when you're in meditation and you're not aligned or centered, you're kind of waving your head around this pillar of or this cable on top of you of energy, and then when you lock in a 0 point, that's when you're able to receive. And that in itself is something I find funny, because it's like we think we need to build energy, but instead it's more like we just need to stop spending it, because meditation is really you just doing nothing, which is why, you know, sleep is rejuvenating in itself. But yeah, so yeah, then that's the next stage, is integration work and healing, and that can happen in many forms. I think the easiest go to, just when you're on your own, is integration work, and then as you release and let go of that baggage, things just become easier and easier and easier. And yeah, and then obviously, again, limiting factor, but essentially that's going to become a limiting factor, and that's the stage I'm at, where it's kind of okay, what's next? For me right now, that step is more towards enlightenment, because through my journey with meditation and mentorship, I've experienced that state, and it's like I'm finding it hard to find words for it, but it's like a different kind of joy, a different kind of feel good that's beyond like the paradigm. Like in duality, you could say there's like a feel bad and a feel good in the spectrum. Like left is feel bad, right is feel good, and I don't mean left and right, I'm just saying if you just taking the scale from left to right. But then enlightenment comes with a feeling that's kind of beyond the scale. But yeah, I'm grinding that in right now, so obviously I can't talk about what I don't know about. But yeah, that's it. The positivity trap. So this main takeaway from this is just ask yourself, am I being limited by the positivity trap? Is this positive thinking and just working on myself hitting that limit where it's like, this is taking a lot of effort and I'm ready for the next stage, of evolution? And then if so, just look into healing work, look into integration or shadow work. Teal Swan is the most amazing source on this, and David Snyder doesn't usually do, I don't know, I'm not sure if I would classify it as 100% integration work, but I feel he has some of the best just NLP techniques as well, for that, creating that positive feel good emotion inside of you. And I feel that it's so simple and effortless that even if you feel like you want to progress to the next step, is worth just noting. Or like, because obviously I'm saying positivity trap, but I'm not in any way demonizing positivity, because there is a stage in evolution and it's necessary. Like, it's not that I don't think positively or I don't do stuff or visualize to make myself feel good. It's just that it's just another tool in the box versus me just constantly using it. Yeah. So I'm getting to that rambly point right now. So if you want that free 50-minute meditation, just hit up my website or send me a DM to see if I'm still doing it. Website's up, manviadins.com. Check out secretenergy.com. My VAP released very soon, and that's all for today. I love you. Have an easeful existence. Have a blissed day. Wholeness.